Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing what we always do, taking a specific set of source material. This time, it's the official update notes for Black Desert, the May 30th, 2025 patch, and, well, diving deep.
Exactly. No need for you to wade through pages of technical jargon. We're here to pull out the really important bits, the key changes, the improvements, the fixes, basically what's actually different and what it's going to mean for you in the game.
Think of this as your fast track to understanding this latest patch. So let's jump right in. Probably best to start with the things that affect you most directly, right? Character and class refinements.
Okay, yeah. So there are a few targeted adjustments here. First up for the Doza class, it's mainly a description update for the Domu skill. Basically, it now explicitly says that once you learn Morning Mist, you can only trigger Domu using the skill slot.
Okay, so just clarifying that interaction. If you have Morning Mist, Domu goes on the hotbar or it won't work. Got it. What else? Deadeye had some notes too.
Yeah. Deadeye got a couple of things. First, a description fix for the Wreckage skill. The text about the Marnathan effect didn't actually match what this skill did.
Yeah.
So that's corrected now. Text matches the effect. Simple fix.
Good. Always nice when the descriptions are accurate.
Yeah.
Anything structural for Deadeye?
Just a small organizational thing. The Connerly's Gift skill, they moved its location in the skill window, the K window, over to the Awakened Weapon tab. Yeah. Just makes more sense there.
Right, keeping the awakened stuff together. Did they change how Connerly's Gift works at all?
Slightly, yeah. It's about the falling motion when you use it.
Yeah.
Before, you might kind of stumble, even if you weren't that high up. Now, they've adjusted it so that falling animation only kicks in if you use the skill from a significantly higher altitude.
Oh, okay. Less accidental falling, more predictability. That's useful.
Definitely. And speaking of small usability things, there's one tiny change for everyone, especially if you fish.
Oh, what's that?
You know the little ring menu UI that pops up when you press the apostrophe key to change stances while fishing? It just appears faster now. Like less delay between pressing the key and seeing the menu. It's a tiny thing, but, smoother.
Every little bit helps when you're going for that prize catch, right? Okay, so moving away from individual character stuff, let's talk about broader content changes. The Arena of Solare, the PvP zone, is getting a map switch up.
That's a big one for Solare players, yeah. The Holborn map is being completely removed from the rotation.
Removed entirely.
And replaced with?
Replaced with a map called Saul's Ruin. And interestingly, within this new map, they've taken out some of the environmental mechanics, the water energy and the fire energy buffs, gone from Saul's Ruin. And that wandering orb in the middle, also gone.
Huh. So they're kind of simplifying the map elements, making it more about straight-up fighting, less about controlling map objectives.
Seems like it, yeah. Fewer external things to worry about, more focus on the actual PvP. Also related to Saul's Ruin, there's a change to the Grass Breath object, the thing you destroy for a heal.
Now, that health recovery effect only applies to the player who actually gets the last hit and destroys it. It's not a small team heal anymore.
Okay. So it's a personal reward now, not a group benefit. Makes sense.
And one last fix for Solare. Sometimes the grass breath and wind energy effects could trigger twice if they stayed up for too long. That bug's been squashed.
Good. So new solar map, cleaner mechanics. Got it.
Okay, let's shift to something that affects basically everyone. Using items. Looks like a big convenience update here.
Oh, yeah. This is a really nice quality of life change. They've made it so a whole bunch of items can now be used even when your character isn't in that idle standby animation. You can use them while moving, basically.
Oh, that's fantastic. No more stopping dead in your tracks to pop a food buff or scroll. Which kinds of items are we talking about?
It's a pretty long list. Covers a lot of common consumables. Lots of event foods, snacks, candies. The usual event stuff like clovers and flowers. Perfumes, various meal items.
The general buffs mostly. Yeah, and also some key functional items. Things like the old moon scroll, dried date palm, tear of repentance, beginner's four-leaf clover, even the sailing EXP scroll. Basically, if it's something you pop regularly for a buff or utility, chances are you can use it on the move now.
That's going to make grinding, boss fights, just general gameplay feel a lot smoother. Less interruption.
Definitely. Now, speaking of using items, what about the fairy's auto-use skill, Arduous Cheer? Any changes there?
Yes, the fairy helper.
Just a small adjustment. They removed 3 specific event items from the list of things the fairy will automatically use for you. Let's see. Event Cool Dark Beer, Event Traces of Festival, and Event Purification Water of Festival. Your fairy won't auto-pop those anymore.
Okay, so remember to use those manually if you rely on them.
Got it.
All right. Let's get into what looks like the real meat of this update, the world boss overhaul. This seems huge.
It really is. This is probably the most significant set of changes in the whole patch. The core idea, it seems, is they want the awakened world bosses. Like awakened Zarka, Nouver, Karanda, Coutum. They want their appearance to feel like a much bigger deal, more special.
Okay, more special. How are they actually doing that? Making them harder?
Partly, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But the main way is by making them spawn way less often.
What's often? How much less?
A lot less. Awakened Zarka, Karanda, and Coutum spawn rates are down by about 80%. 80%.
Yeah.
And Awakened Nouver is down by about 72%.
Wow. 80%. So seeing an awakened boss is going to be genuinely rare now, like an actual event.
Exactly. That seems to be the goal. Make them feel like rare, valuable opportunities. But, and this is the crucial part, when one does spawn and you manage to defeat it, the rewards are being massively increased.
Oh, okay. So rare spawn, but huge payoff potential. High risk, high reward kind of thing.
Pretty much. The idea is to ramp up the excitement and anticipation for when that world message finally appears.
Okay. That makes sense for the awakened versions. But if they're appearing so rarely, what about the regular versions of Zarka, Nouver, Karanda, Coutum? Are people just going to ignore those now if the awakened ones are where the big money is?
That's the key question, isn't it? And they've thought about that. To balance it out, the loot tables for the regular versions of those 4 bosses have also been significantly buffed.
Buffed how much?
The notes explicitly say the goal is for the regular bosses to now provide rewards that are similar in value to what you used to get from the old Awakened versions.
Oh, okay. So even the normal Tuesday Zarka is going to drop better stuff now, comparable to what Awakened Zarka used to drop before this patch.
That's the idea, yes. Make participation in the regular spawns still very worthwhile.
All right, that seems like a good balance. Now, speaking of loot, you said the new Awakened versions have massively increased rewards. Is there anything new dropping?
Yes, there's a brand new item called Precious Adventurer's Legacy. It replaces the old Adventurer's Legacy. And like the name implies, it's meant to be much more precious.
The Precious Adventurer's Legacy, where does that drop from?
It drops from the Awakened versions of the main for Zarka, Karanda, Nouver, Coutum for the top 50 damage dealers. And it also drops from Quint and Moroca for the top 70% of contributors, and from Offin for the top 60%.
Okay, so good performance is key, especially on the main bosses. What's inside this Precious Legacy? What makes it so good?
This is the exciting part. Opening 1 gives you a chance, mind you, to get high-value accessories, enhanced straight up to PRI, which is 3rd, or even TE4.
Oh, wait, you can get a TE accessory directly from opening this box?
That's what it says. Or you might get a 1 KG gold bar, which is 1 billion silver right there. The list of potential accessories is Long Tongue Grads, Ogre Ring, Latens, Cadry, Centaur, Narc, Valtara, Basilisk, basically all the good stuff. Getting a TE accessory drop would be, well, insane.
Yeah, no kidding. That instantly makes chasing those awakened bosses incredibly appealing, even if they are rare. So beyond that new item, how else were the awakened loot tables buffed for contributors?
Lots of increases based on your damage rank. Awakened boss weapon boxes, drop rate increased, up to 1.4 times more depending on your tier. Boss furniture crafting materials, surprisingly big jump there, up to 2.45 times more.
Okay, better chances at the core boss gear and materials. What about enhancement stuff for silver?
Big changes there too. Vox Advice drops now include higher tiers from awakened bosses. You can get plus 40, plus 60, plus 80, even plus 100 Vox now at certain contribution levels. Chilling Remnants drop in higher quantities, Latent Boss Aura, Hunter Seals quantities adjusted up per tier, and the gold bars.
You mentioned the 1 kg bar from the Precious Legacy. What about direct gold bar drops?
Significantly increased, especially for the top performers. For the 1 kg gold bars, if you're in the top 120 damage dealers on an awakened boss, you still get 1 guaranteed, but now you have up to a 10 times higher chance to get additional 1 kg bars, potentially 1 to 4 extra ones.
10 times the chance for multiple billion silver bars.
Yeah, the potential payout at the top end is much, much higher now. The 100G gold bar drops are also adjusted upwards across the tiers.
Okay, this is really leaning into making those awakened kills feel like hitting the jackpot if you perform well. Massive potential rewards.
Definitely. And to help focus that loot pool on the high-value stuff for awakened bosses, they also removed some of the lower-tier items.
What got cut from the awakened loot tables?
Let's see. Vox Advice plus 30 and plus 50 are gone from awakened. The old Adventurer's Legacy is out, obviously replaced by the Precious one. Liberto weapon bundles are gone. And the small gold bars 1G and 10G are removed too. Just cleans up the table.
Makes sense. Focus on the good drops.
Yeah.
Now, you also mentioned they buffed some other bosses, the ones maybe fewer people attended, like Quint, Moroca, Offin.
Right. They wanted to make them more appealing, too. So for Quint, Moroca, and Offin, they also removed the Vox Advice plus 30 and plus 50 drops. But they added Vox Advice plus 80 to their loot tables.
Oh, nice. So a chance at a decent enhancement stack from those bosses now.
Exactly. For Offin specifically, the chance to get a 1 kg gold bar was increased by 2.5 times for the top 60% contributors. And the 100G gold bar drops for Offin, Quint, and Moroca are now guaranteed drops at certain tiers with higher quantities. Like Offin top 130 gets a guaranteed 4 to 6 100G bars now. And Chilling Remnants quantities are up for Quint and Moroca as well.
So buffs across the board, really. More incentive to show up for pretty much any world boss now. But with all this better loot, did they make the bosses themselves harder? Seems like they'd have to, right?
They did. This is the other side of the coin. World boss defense has been increased significantly for almost all the main ones. Zarka, Awakened Zarka, Nouver, Awakened Nouver, Karanda, Awakened Karanda, Coutum, and Awakened Coutum all got tougher.
How much tougher are we talking?
It varies, but some are substantial. Regular Zarka and regular Karanda had their defense doubled. A 100% increase.
He doubled. Okay, that's going to make those fights take noticeably longer.
Oh, yeah. Regular Nouver's defense is up 40%, regular Coutum up 80%. The Awakened versions got defense boost too, but smaller percentages like 15% to 38%. But yeah, the regular versions especially are significantly tankier now.
That definitely balances the increased rewards. Fights will take more effort, maybe more coordination, or just higher gear overall. Any other combat changes for them?
One key standardization. Magic damage and range damage now apply the same way against these bosses as melee damage does. Seems like it just wanted to ensure all damage types work equally well.
Okay, makes sense. So to recap the world boss stuff, Awakened are rare but super rewarding. Regular bosses buffed to be like old Awakened, new high-value legacy item, loot tables cleaned up, less popular bosses buffed too. But UT, all the main bosses are significantly tankier, and damage application is standardized. That's a massive shift.
Huge. It'll really change how people approach bossing.
Okay.
Moving on from the endgame bosses, let's look at the other end of the spectrum, early game leveling.
Right. For a long time, Trader's Graveyard was kind of the default spot right after you got your Succession or Awakening, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was super efficient, so everyone went there. The devs apparently want to encourage more variety, so they've significantly buffed the combat EXP you get from monsters in a bunch of other zones that are around that same progression stage.
Oh, interesting. Which zones got the EXP boost?
Let's see the list. Paz Outpost, Bashim Base, Centaurus Herd, Kilaku Prison, Crescent Shrine, Cadry Ruins, Sulphur Mine, and Gahaz Bandits Lair. All of those should give much better EXP now.
Much better, like a little bit better, or actually competitive.
Seriously competitive. Some of these increases are massive. For example, monsters in the Centaurus Herd, their EXP is up by between 3.7 and 4.19 times.
4 times the EXP.
Yep. Cadry Ruins up over 3x, Gahaz Bandits up around 3x, Pilaku up over 2x, Crescent Shrine up over 2.5x, Sulphur Mine up around 2.5x. Bashims and Padas saw smaller but still significant increases too, like 1.5x or more.
Wow. Okay, that completely changes the leveling landscape in that bracket. You actually have real choices now instead of just defaulting to traders. That should spread people out a lot more.
That's got to be the goal. Yeah. Give players viable alternatives. All right, let's quickly cover some quest and knowledge updates. Anything major?
Mostly small improvements and fixes. For Adoraxion, the Adoraxion to the Balanced Society Again quest can now be started even if you're not right inside the Red Heart area. A bit more convenient.
Okay.
For the weekly Gladius quest, weekly Gladius, Cable's ship initiating the Elezra fight is now done through a dialogue button after you accept the quest. Just a cleaner interaction.
Right.
And for the last Gladius's, that recommended quest, they increased the time limit for the combat part to 50 minutes. Gives you a bit more breathing room.
Good. Less pressure on that one. What about knowledge?
Just a fix, really. There was a bug where you couldn't get knowledge from some guild bosses. That's been fixed now, so completionists can breathe easy.
Always good to fix knowledge bugs. Okay, next section. World environment, NPCs, effects, cutscenes. Usually just minor polish here.
Pretty much. The Tory NPC in Morwek's Labyrinth, the one who appears after Versalides, she won't pop up in weird spots anymore, fixed her location.
Good.
Some NPC placements in the Golden Pig's Cave were adjusted to look more natural. Fixed a typo in the quest text for Adventure Log feeling good. Changed an NPC's name in Aspircan from Basella to Basilla.
Okay, remember Basilla. not Pacella.
Right. And they improved the appearance and disappearance cutscenes for Yaz, the NPC in Adoraxion or Zekia's ancient stone chamber. Smoother visuals. Oh, and Katya, the NPC usually at Okula's Eye. You can now find her using the NPC search function.
Ah, that's Andy. Save's running around trying to remember where she is. All right, moving on to bigger battles. Node and Conquest Wars. Looks like the Dark Contract summons the ogre, and the troll got some serious buffs.
Oh yeah, these look significant. For the Dark Contract, Ogre, they improved its attack chaining, made its sprint-to-charge attack transitions smoother. They removed a couple of its stationary attacks during a charge and replaced them with a jump attack instead. And crucially, its defense was increased by 100%.
Double defense for the ogre. Wow. That makes it way harder to take down. What of the troll?
Troll got even bigger buffs, arguably. Also got attack chaining improvements. Big one. It can now attack while moving. Its movement speed was also greatly increased. It gained a sprint charge attack, and its defense increased by 150%.
150% defense increase.
Yeah.
Plus, attacking while moving and way faster. Geez, the troll's going to be a menace now. Much more mobile and durable.
Yeah, these summons are going to be way more impactful. And maybe the biggest change related to them? The items used to summon them, the Conquest Art contract items. They can now be used for defense during Conquest Wars, not just offense.
Whoa, okay. That's huge for defenders. Being able to pop an ogre or especially that buffed troll to help hold your castle or node, that's a massive new defensive tool.
Absolutely. Changes the strategic calculations for defense quite a bit. Okay, let's round things out with user interface improvements. UI tweaks.
Always welcome. What did they polish up?
The integrated currency UI, you know, where all your tokens and seals live. It got sort buttons you can sort by quantity now, high to low. And filter buttons show only currencies you actually own, and you can use both together.
Oh, finally. Sorting and filtering that list is going to be so much better. Thank goodness.
Right. Also, more mouseover tooltips were added for clarity. Things like ship stats, sea wind, Okula's guidance, the Dream Dyne skill Ogier's breath, the little move lock buttons on chat widgets, and various buttons in the Pearl shop, just making things clearer.
Good, less guesswork.
The set button in World Boss Alert settings now says save. Clearer wording. Daily quests in the Immortals Den UI now sort by grade, highest first, and they changed the font color for guild hire contracts. Just small visual tweaks.
All sounds like solid iterative UI improvement. Okay, and lastly, the bug fix list. Usually pretty extensive.
Yeah, a whole bunch of fixes as always. Fixed roles like War Correspondent, not being able to open the guild color UI without specific permissions. Fixed those title acquisition issues we mentioned earlier, Successor of Dakia's Will, etc. Fixed repeated outpost names in the transport UI sometimes.
What about item bugs?
Fixed an issue where canceling contribution retrieval from a node and clicking again wouldn't show details. Fixed items in Patricio's costume bag losing their lock settings, that's a good fix. Corrected awkward phrasing on an otter emote item description. Fixed weird spacing in chat with the @ symbol.
Okay, lots of little annoyances tackled. Anything else stand out?
Fixed the knowledge bug with guild bosses again here. Fixed time-limited quests appearing outside their period. Fixed those Adoraxion quest progression blockers with disappearing NPCs. Improved text on a Saul Magia button in Adoraxion. Fixed the weekly quest icon not showing on the Saul Magia.
Lots of Adoraxion polish.
Yeah. Oh, this one's important. Fixed the Fordinil ingots drop increase effect from the Frioni accessory, and Chenga tone not stacking correctly when both were equipped. That's a key interaction for some grinders.
Ooh, good catch. That needed fixing.
Fixed being able to see hardcore server family names via Pearl Shop Difting. Added Kill's Relic to the Garmouth bundle description. Fixed some visual glitches like Ranger ear tips and certain outfits on a Shoshin Sage. Fixed some gamepad UI errors, you know, the usual broad range of fixes.
A good sweep of polishing and fixing edge cases and annoyances adds up.
Definitely. So, all right, that covers our deep dive into the May 30th Black Desert update. We went through the class tweaks, the Arena of Solare map change, those nice item convenience updates, UI polishing.
And of course, the huge world boss overhaul, changing spawn rates, massively boosting rewards, increasing difficulty, plus those really significant EXP buffs across many mid-game zones. And naturally, a ton of bug fixes.
The world boss changes feel like the biggest philosophical shift, right? Trying to create these really high-stakes, exciting, rare encounters while also making the regular bosses and less popular ones feel much more worthwhile. And the EXP changes are clearly aimed at breaking up the old leveling patterns.
It really sets up an interesting question for you, the player. How is this going to change how you play? Are you going to dedicate time to chasing those super rare, super rewarding awakened bosses now? Or focus on the newly buffed regular bosses? And where are you going to level your next character now that zones like Centaurus and Cadry are potentially giving, 3 or 4 times the EXP they used to?
Yeah, lots to think about and experiment with in the game now. That's definitely something to mull over as you explore this updated world.